It is 5 o'clock, so we're gonna get started here. I got an email for this a couple weeks ago, actually. It's a reoccurring webinar, same link every time. And we post it to YouTube afterward. So if you have to step away, check out my YouTube channel and catch up. If you're not familiar, it's jeffreytrader.com/YouTube to get their short link. You should subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We posted a small account challenge update today. So it's just, I'm just doing it and it's posted on YouTube. If you want to follow along, like and subscribe, it's right there on YouTube. Like I said, if you type in jeffreytrader.com/YouTube, it jumps right over to my YouTube channel. And we have the latest episode 4, I believe that is. Yeah, there's episode 3, there's episode 4. So update number 4 on the small account challenge. It's not too late. You can go watch all the episodes. They're not very long, a couple minutes each, 6 minutes, looks like 6 minutes each. So if you don't know what it is, I took my tax bill from the city of Knoxville, added up to about $998. I put it in a Webull account that I opened brand new and accidentally made the deposit twice. So you can see it on the, episode 3 was the deposit hit my account twice. So episode number 4, I got the one return back to my bank, and I've actually made a few trades. So not going to spoil it. And if you want to go watch it, go watch it. So, all righty. We've had a fun-filled, exciting week. So let's jump into it here. Yes, S&P 500 futures. It did back a couple weeks ago, found support just above the 144 EMA. It is now broken above the highs from early September. So we can expect some movement up to 4614 area. And above that, we could get to the 4700 area. So I said this might happen quick if we broke above, and we already got almost 3/4 of the way up there today before retracing a bit, making a tight little doji. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. All right. So that's ES. Nasdaq getting a little smacked down on some tech earnings, I do believe. But we did bounce off the 144 EMA, came up and found resistance right at the top. So it may take us a couple days, the rest of the week, possibly to break through there. So that's Nasdaq NQ. If you're not familiar, NQ1 exclamation point on TradingView. These are the futures. They trade almost 24/7. I think 20, 23.5, 5 is the actual numbers, but they start up at 6 o'clock on Sunday night and cut off at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock on Friday. So they trade that whole chunk of time there. And there's relatively few gaps in these charts because they keep on rolling. So price tends to not leave any gaps in the futures charts. And that's why I like to use them. Whereas the SPX, you get some funky gaps in there. And sometimes it's hard to tell. But when you use the futures, you can boil down to smaller time frames and it doesn't have gaps in there. So that's why I use the futures. All right. Yeah, Todd, it will be posted to YouTube. That's what we covered first there. All these things are posted to YouTube, so you can go back and watch them. Watch them in slow-mo, watch them in fast-mo. So next up, Russell, finally breaking out of this inside tighter wedge, but finding resistance at the outside, at the bigger wedge trend. But breaking above that is going to be a breakout scenario, and we can see some higher prices. Right now, we maintain that, and we got back inside the orange wedge. So the next expectation, without it just jumping out of there, is for it to return down to the bottom of the trend one more time. Eventually, we run out of triangle, though. Eventually, these two triangles come together, or these two trend lines come together. So if we bounce down in here one more time, that might be all it takes. But if we break above this blue trend line right here, that could be all we need to see some breakaway run higher. I do trade futures, not quite on this time frame, but I do watch them and I do trade them. Usually I'm in the micros, not the main ones. Call them. It's kind of like playing nickel slots some days, especially when it's being super volatile. So oil still well on its way to the green target circle up here around 88 plus, 88 to 100. And as I shared with some people last week during a special class, there's the possibility we see a super spike in oil. Gold, this is GC. Yeah, oil is CL, if you're not familiar with the futures. That was oil futures. People talk about oil running up overnight. They're talking about the oil futures. Gold, when people talk about gold, a lot of times they're talking about the futures. So right now we did break higher. We broke out of the downtrend trend line, kinda, but we're in this orange support box again, or resistance box since it's above, and having trouble even just maintaining into it. So my expectation is still down until we get above that orange box. And really, we got to get above that blue line high from the high in August and the high in September. We have to break out above that high around 1835 to see higher prices on gold. Bitcoin, just a minor little retrace. Some people freaking out for some reason. I don't know why. We are way up off of the $40,000 prices we were having in September. Just way up there. Little profit roadmap trade I bought is up something like 30% right now. I made a $10 buy. You can buy $10 chunks of Bitcoin. So that one's up 30%. And I'm looking for higher prices. I did expect some consolidation as we came into this prior high right here, and we're getting it. Next breakout should take us on up around the 76,000 to 80,000 area. Next time we can break out above there. All right, any questions on Bitcoin? Moving on. Ethereum did poke up right to the prior high. Some exchanges say we made a higher high. Some exchanges say we just kind of tied it. You know, potato. We still pulled back greatly, quickly off of it. And we need to break higher to get to the first target there. Breaking on up higher. I think we could quickly see prices up to 75 to 8,000 area. And then, which is pretty much double from where we are now, or almost a double. And then, on higher to 15 to 20,000 area into first quarter, first half next year, probably. I was looking at Ethereum.org over the weekend, and they're pushing out the conversion to Ethereum 2.0 till 2022. So you can trade USO. I like UCO a little better on oil. It's an ultra, which means it is levered. See, I have we're coming up on this resistance right here at 83.85. Is that right? Or no, 103. 103.85. Coming up on that resistance at 103.85. Can't even read my own numbers on the chart. Moved it instead of moving the chart. Getting above there, we could see a quick run to 130, breaking above 103 on UCO. Now, speaking of oil, let's talk about something interesting I was watching unfold today. Pull it over here. Favorite crypto? I like Bitcoin. I like Ethereum too. It's hard to decide which one I like the best out of those two. I mine Ethereum and get paid in Bitcoin. So I'm deeply entrenched in both right now. Let's check this out. Anybody that I didn't tell today, and I know who I told. Anybody who I didn't tell today want to guess what symbol these calls went with? This is today, 415,000 calls versus 11,000 puts. And 394,000 of those were deep in the money at 81 Delta. It's not Tesla. Give you a hint, it's related to something on the screen right behind it, something we were just talking about. It's not Facebook. It's not HUT. It's not Mara. So this is ConocoPhillips, COP. Somebody bought that many calls. Let me pop this up and show you where they bought that many calls. January 2022, COP, right in at the 50 strike. This thing's trading at 77. They were paying $27 a call for these things, or $30 a call for 24,000, or 43,000 down here at 36. And there's some other expirations that had large call buys. Almost, 95% of the calls that were bought today were at an 81 or higher Delta. Why would they do that? You tell me. That's getting close to $500 million worth of calls that were bought today. That represents 40 million shares. The volume of shares today was 5.9 million. Pretty crazy, right? How come so much of the money? That's a good question. It's hard to know, but somebody, these weren't sold. So they didn't sell them at the bid. They were all traded almost right between the market, somewhere between the bid and ask. So somebody knows something, right? So one speculation was that ConocoPhillips may have a major part in Biden's energy plan that's going to get unveiled. And that's one theory that was working. Another theory, as I've been hearing rumblings, that oil might experience a super spike. This could be one way to play it. This could be a hedge against inflation. So those 400 and almost, 400,000 calls are deep in the money, are kind of like buying almost 40 million shares of stock. Yeah, call up Nick. I'll put you on there. You call up Nancy Pelosi and you let us know what she comes back to you with. And that could have been her buy, right? Her and Jay Powell, right? All right. Well, all I can do is show you guys the craziness that was out there today. This was out there. I went ahead and grabbed some 90 and 95 strike calls in different accounts I have, because they were about $1.50 for the 95s. So I bought those just in case something crazy happens and this thing runs away, a la Tesla, Tesla style. So how do I know they were bought? That's what I was just talking about, was the fact that they transacted near the mid. When you sell, you almost have to always go closer to the bid. And when you buy, like when you're forcefully buying, you get filled at the ask. But when you're somewhere in the middle, usually you're just carefully buying. A large chunk of these happened in 2 minutes. And I brought up each of the strike charts and looked at it. And a huge chunk of them transacted within 2 minutes of each other. And the 50 strike is where the big chunk, like a large chunk, 79,000 was right there. Another 24,000 right there. Another 43,000 right there. And then that's just on January 2022, which is where I went out to and bought this 90 I bought some 90s and I bought a couple 95s in another account. You can see there weren't, the volume on the 90s was 125. So it was like me and a few people I told, and then a few other people probably. So that 125 volume is nothing compared to 400,000 that were out here. And we look at, there is earnings coming up, so maybe somebody knows something about the earnings too. There was quite a bit of volume for this Friday deep in the money. There wasn't a whole lot, not really a whole lot for next Friday. Almost nothing for the Friday after that. November, or regular monthly, starts picking up some of the big buys. So it's interesting. All right. So the strikes were all over the place, but the delta, it was an 81 to 100 delta, which means they were deep in the money. That's how I know. 95% of them were deep in the money, which is very unusual. Yeah, 40s, 45s, 50s. They could have been spreads, but I doubt it, the way they're spread all over the different expirations and the. So it's really interesting. Usually if you do a spread and the way it was filled so fast, and there's spikes that don't line up across the time frames. But I went with 90 and 95 strike out to January. Out here, these guys, these two. But the major volume we picked up first was this January strike at 50. That was the one that flashed first, and then I started seeing more and more all over the place. Yeah, it's recorded. It'll be on YouTube here just after we wrap up. So I'm not saying buy it. I'm just saying that interesting opportunity is out there. Yeah, we could see $10 gas. It'd be crazy. Something crazy could happen. All right. So let's take a look at the COP chart. ConocoPhillips, they're an oil company. And on the daily, it's pretty good. Looks pretty darn good right there. It was a roadmap trade a couple weeks ago. So looking at the roadmap style, we're kind of in the middle, but some targets could be the 80s, the 125 area, or all the way up to the 200 area. So if this thing super spiked, that'd be a crazy run, and not all that different than Tesla. So I thought it was worth putting $1 on just to see what happens. I didn't buy big. Don't get me wrong. I did not go in this with like 1% of my account or anything. I just put a little bit of money on a few calls just to see what happens. Could be total bull crap, and it just never does anything. But I don't think somebody bought almost $500 million worth of calls today for nothing. I'm already bullish on oil. So this $90 area looks highly likely. That's why I went with calls there. That, and they were $1. So $100 for a call. This next level lines up right here around 125, 130. And then the next target up would be the 200 area. And if you don't want to, experience, we do have earnings. That is coming up November 2nd, next week. So be cautious. But that's my interesting thing for the week. I thought I'd show you guys. So I'll run through a couple things y'all want to look at. Yeah, XOM. Yeah, same sort of deal. It's it's just getting up to prior highs, looks like, right up in there. Yeah, just breaking above today. So something's going on with oil. And I didn't see any giant call buys on XOM, but that doesn't mean that somebody's not playing XOM also. Yeah, we don't have the volume. The XOM is not showing volume quite like what I saw on COP today. Yeah, that's more normal. That's more like normal volume on XOM. So COP, crazy call volume. And then like it didn't even, like you look at the open interest, it just dwarfed the open interest. You had like 6,000 open contracts, and we traded 79,000 a day. So it wasn't like somebody was getting out. All right, XLE, we can take a quick gander. Yeah, about the same. Broke higher a couple days ago. XLE and COP look very similar, it looks like. So you can play with XLE. But COP is where somebody put a bunch of money. So, oh, clicked it away. Get back up there. All right. How would you determine where to put your option? So on COP, I was looking at that $90 area where some fib confluence was. And then I popped it up and I was like, everybody's kind of playing in January, it looks like. So I don't want to be cutting the move short. So I started looking down here in January. I was like, well, this line right here is a 1 standard deviation move. It's about $1. It's a fair price. The delta on it was about 17. So that's 17% return for every dollar move the COP makes. Yeah, it could be down for a week before something pops. I mean, people played out to January, so it's not like everybody was buying this Friday's. I mean, there are quite a few here, but it's not like there's 400,000 on this Friday. It's 400,000 with a big chunk of them out to January 2021 or January 21, 2022. So this is one of those, you buy it and you don't look at it for a couple weeks unless something hits the news. So that's what I looked out here. One of my tricks is to take the delta, and you take the mid, and you divide the delta by the mid, and that gets you your rate of return for a dollar move on the underlying for how much money you've got at risk. And there'll be some special opportunities show up sometimes. So yeah, that's a lot of time for earnings. In fact, that gets you out almost to the next earnings. Almost. It'll probably be in February. All right, yeah. So I've got the delta. One of my tricks for finding the best rate of return. Now, in general, it'll go up as you go further out of the money, but that's why you got to make a little intelligent pick with some target on the chart. That's what I did with the fibs there. So you take your delta price. In this case, it's 17, and you take the mid price, which is 102. And if I grab a calculator real quick, so I don't do math wrong, and everybody tells me I did the math wrong. So you take that 17, and you divide it by 102, and gets you a 16.6% return. If you want to see it in actual percent, you multiply by 100, 16.66%. So for every $1 move in the underlying, you should gain 16%. Now, being out to January, the theta is low, but you do have theta working against you at whatever rate per day. At $1 for 87, or I mean, basically $100 for 87 days, you're going to be losing about $1 a day on average between now and expiration day. All right. All right. I saw a question about something else up there. Nvidia. And we can look at Nvidia real quick. Kapow, right up in the targets. I think I had a profit wave target, profit wave report target of 250. Looks like we hit it. Anybody that bought the report here, able to verify? I think 250 was the target. Put out a lot of targets. Gigi, do you remember? Gigi, I saw you here. Steven, I saw you here. Do you remember? Anybody remember? Anybody? Yeah, 250. So I nailed that one. 250 hit today. I don't do gap plays. That's not a thing I do. So, but I did have a 250 target on Nvidia. We hit it today. So we'll be looking for stretch goals. If it can get above 255 area right here, we'll be looking for 285. So above this level right here, then we can see a move up like that. All right. Awesome, Gigi. Glad you made some money. Anybody else ride the profit wave on Nvidia? Had a profit wave report. It was a report that I put out a couple months ago. Had the entry, the option to play, and the target. It was a high time frame trade. So, all right, let's look at wire real quick. Then I gotta tell you all about something and try to keep this to a half hour. Wire looks like I would run a fib right there. Had a little trouble getting through the 272 or above it now. So my next level up would be 123 at the 2618. Above there could take you up to the 4236, about 181. As the higher up the ladder you go, the more likely you are to bounce down to a lower level of consolidation. So Van, that's really up to you. On COP, I just bought a straight call. Nvidia, it just reached the target I had, so I don't have I'm not extending any kind of extra analysis at this moment during this webinar. DIS, Disney, huh? Okay. That looks pretty horrible. So here's your levels. You want to know levels for Disney? Got to get out of the box. If it gets out below, we're going down. If it gets out above, we're going up. Otherwise, it can just stay in this box for a while. Right now, the trend is down. It's below the 144 EMA, so I expect a break lower. This would be my, if I had to pick one right now, that would be my guess. All right. Twitter. That was my guess before. Come back down here. Got to break above the blue, or probably going down here. Apple's got earnings coming up, but I am, oh, I didn't type that right. AAPL. We're still sitting at that resistance, the 618 that I drew last week. Still sitting there. Can't break. We've been unable to break through so far. If we can break higher, we'll probably see a run. Earnings are coming up on the 28th. Something to be cognizant of. All right. I'll pull up LCID. That'll be my last one. Still in the orange box. So if you haven't seen it before, it's the orange box on LCID. Above the orange box is going higher, below going lower. We did spike down, but it came right back in. So that's the orange box. A high of 29-ish, a low around 17-ish. Yeah, it's almost broken out, but it keeps finding resistance. So if it can break out and sustain a move out there for more than 2 days or so, it could get going. All right. So I thank everybody for being here. I'm starting something new. It's coming up on Friday, October 29th. A few of you that are here have already gotten your place reserved and jumped in. And you may have heard me talk about the income strategy, the covered calls that I've been working on and trading for a while with a beta test group. I'm really excited about the results so far. In fact, I've seen a 94% win rate in live trading account used with my beta test group for the strategy that I'm using. And my event, the official launch, is going to happen on November 2nd. And we're starting the launch this Friday. So Friday, October 29th, we're going to start signups. But because you guys came and joined me today, I'm going to give you a chance to sign up early and be in the front of the list. So I have a 94% win rate, Raj. You know, if you want to sign up, find out what it's all about, jeffreytrader.com/preview right now. There's no charge. You just sign up, put your email on the list. You will be at the front of the list to get notified when we start rolling this thing out. So if you're already in the service, don't worry about it. This is the covered call thing. So jeffreytrader.com/preview. This puts you on the list. It is right here, jeffreytrader.com/preview. Somebody else will get the phone, maybe not. So it brings you right here. It's a farmer's market experiment. I went to the farmer's market, taught people how to do this right there. So sign up, put your email in here. You'll be at the front of the list to find out more details about it. All right. Good grief. I don't know why somebody's not answering the phone. So jeffreytrader.com/preview. You can do it all in one, or Raj, if you're already in the service, get in the chat for the beta testers and ask me your questions, or read what other people have already asked. All right. Any more questions about it? It's not super risky the way I do it. I've been doing them for over 15 years. So I have a method and a madness, a method to the madness. So sign up to be on the list for when we launch. This is coming up soon. Hot new thing. I've been working on it since July. So it does take a little bit of account. The track record account I'm using is a $10,000 starting account. I do not recommend going smaller than 5,000. It's really kind of a lower limit. I really recommend, if you have the $10,000 account, that's where you need to be. Like, that's what I started with. So just being totally honest, this is like something that makes consistent weekly income, and you need about $10,000 to be comfortable doing it. In fact, let's see. Let's see what I got. I can pull up real quick. Here's my track record right here. Zoom it out if I can. Right here. These are the ones that are white are still open. Win $122, win $60, win $79, win $78, open, win $92, lost $2,000, win $150, win $170, win $80, win $4,500, win $67, win $81, win $25, and it rolls all the way back to the beginning. So there's the wins and losses as of last Friday, I think it was. So These are weekly trades is the target. So that's a little preview of the track record. So the target trade is a week long. Some of them do last longer. Not gonna kid you there, but we try to do one a week and make 1 to 5% return on that one trade, and have the shares called away and closed out, and you never have to actually close the trade. It just does it for you. It's a special setup. It's not like a standard cover call that you would read about on if you looked it up on Google. That was a real account. That's my real track record account. And right now, today, it's up about 40-something% since July. It depends on your broker. Joanne, I almost said Johan. Joanne. Really depends on your broker. You'll be most comfortable if you have a $10,000 account. All right. Any final questions? Go to jeffreytrader.com/preview. That's JEFFRY, trader.com/preview. If you guys want to catch this later, it'll be posted on YouTube after a while. And check out the small account challenge. I use them all. I trade in Tastyworks. You can see Tastyworks down here at the bottom. I've got Tastyworks. I got Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim is actually where I have the called cash on demand is what it'll be called. That's cash on demand track record is in Tastyworks or in Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim at TD Ameritrade. All right. I'll see everybody later on. If you're in one of my services, you know how to get a hold of me if you need it. If you're not, what are you waiting on? Sign up. Come join me. Sign up. Go to jeffreytrader.com/preview and find out what this farmers market income experiment was. I got a whole story. It was a lot of fun. We worked on it for months. So this was not just slapped together. We worked on this a good long time. Really proud of it. So see you guys next week. If you're not in anything else, and let me know. Keep up on YouTube. Like and subscribe for more content if you're watching this on YouTube. See you guys later.